A white professor caught his new black employee sneaking looks at his medical files. He decided to test this guy. The professor pointed at equipment nearby and asked what it was called. But surprisingly, this black man could name every single piece correctly. Then he handed the black man some test tube tongs. He told him to grab a test tube from the side. The black man did it with no effort at all. The professor told him to try with his left hand to make it harder. But the black man still did it really easily. He could even pick up the bottle cork. Then he sealed the bottle perfectly. The professor was totally shocked by these moves. He immediately decided to hire him as his assistant. But the next day at work, they hit trouble. The security guard gave the professor no respect and made him use the employee entrance. Even when the professor tried to speak up for him, the guard would not change the rules. Kenny had to accept this arrangement. After that, the professor started teaching him medical stuff. Kenny worked super hard. In just a few days, he could calculate anesthesia doses perfectly. One day, the professor had Kenny practice surgery on a small dog. He drew a line on the test dog's belly. Kenny did not disappoint anyone. Even though it was his first time cutting, Kenny moved like he had done this before. The professor told him to find the pulmonary artery, then puncture it to create a shock state. This would simulate what happens when people get injured. The dog's blood pressure kept dropping. It was like life was draining away. Back then, everyone only knew to stop bleeding. The professor thought about adding blood to the body. This would maintain blood pressure, and that could save lives. When blood entered the test dog's body, the dropping blood pressure actually went back up. This showed the experiment was really meaningful. The professor found a notebook by accident. It had really careful notes inside. These were all Kenny's research results. Later, their treatment method saved countless wounded soldiers in World War II. The professor became super famous because of this. He became the biggest name of that era. But at the celebration dinner that night, Kenny could only enter as a waiter. What hurt Kenny more was this. The professor never mentioned Kenny's contributions. When he got home, his wife was angry for him. The pay was terrible already, and he had to take this unfairness too. But Kenny said he was grateful for the professor's first chance in just a few short years. With Kenny's help, the professor got fame and money from innovative treatments. The world-famous Johns Hopkins University made him head of the surgery department. He brought Kenny there too. The walls showed photos of world-famous medical experts. The professor believed strongly that one day his photo would be there too. Here, Kenny met some special children. They all sat holding their legs on the bed. The professor said this was the only way to reduce blood flow to their legs, so they could breathe a bit easier. They had lived in oxygen boxes since birth. The blood vessels connecting their hearts to lungs grew wrong. This made their skin look blue. The children's parents cried every single day. The professor's first goal after taking over was to solve this disease. For the next few months, Kenny and the professor stayed in the lab every day. They successfully found the treatment method. It was the first heart surgery in history. When the black man stood by the operating table, all the experts there started talking. The surgery officially began. Kenny stood quietly behind the professor. He guided the professor through every step. The professor picked up the surgical tools Kenny made, then connected the vessels that needed redirecting. Kenny carefully guided each move.